When you stop talking and start building, something inside you changes. Your energy stops getting wasted in explaining, in proving, in defending. It starts pouring into your vision, your effort, your result. People begin to wonder what you're up to, because they can feel your absence in their noise. But you don't explain. You don't announce. You simply rise. We live in a world where people talk more than they work. They share dreams instead of building them. They get high on likes instead of progress. But the truth is, real success doesn't need a crowd. It doesn't need attention. It needs hunger. It needs patience. It needs discipline in the shadows, where nobody claps for you, where nobody even notices you. That's where greatness is born. Silence is a weapon. It keeps your mind clear, your soul clean, your purpose intact. When you go silent, distractions lose their grip. You stop playing someone else's game. You stop competing for attention. You start creating for yourself. You start rising for real. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. You don't have to share every move you make. Your goals are not for public consumption. Your hunger is not for validation. Your mission is not for display. You are not in a race with anyone. The only thing that matters is that you keep moving, quietly, consistently, powerfully. When you focus on yourself, you begin to see how much energy you were giving away to the wrong things. You start noticing how often you explained your dreams to people who were never meant to understand them, and then you stop. You stop talking. You start building. And everything changes. The silence is not emptiness, it's alignment, it's clarity, it's you returning to yourself, to your real priorities, to the work that matters. The silence becomes your shield, your power, your rhythm. You get addicted to progress instead of attention. You fall in love with growth instead of noise, and eventually your results speak so loud you don't have to. Let people wonder what you're doing. Let them assume you've disappeared. Let them think you've slowed down. While they sleep on you, you build. While they talk about goals, you live them. While they doubt, you double down. Because silence is not weakness. It's your greatest strength. It means you're too focused to explain, too committed to waste time, too serious to seek approval. You're not chasing attention. You're becoming the person no one can ignore. So shut the noise, close the tabs, unfollow the drama. Unplug from comparison. Get into that zone where nothing exists but the mission. Wake up, lock in, work hard, go dark, and don't resurface until the world has no choice but to recognize the force you've become. No shortcuts, no excuses, just discipline in silence. The world will try to distract you with applause and opinions, but you don't need either. What you need is peace in your purpose. What you need is work that makes you proud. What you need is progress that doesn't require permission. So from this point forward, don't explain, don't announce, don't argue. Build in silence. Let the results make the noise. You're not here to be seen, you're here to become unstoppable. And if you're ready for that journey, subscribe, stay locked in, and let's move. Chapter 2. Cut out the noise. Build a world of focus. When you finally decide to focus on yourself, the first thing you must do is cut out the noise. And noise doesn't always come from outside. It often lives inside your own head. The overthinking, the fear of judgment, the endless what-ifs. That's the noise you need to silence first. Most people never realize how much power they give away every single day just by paying attention to the wrong things. They scroll for hours, they compare their lives to strangers, they absorb opinions like it's truth. They waste mental energy arguing with people who don't even matter. By the time they return to themselves, they're exhausted, not from doing anything but from being everywhere mentally, except where they should be. You have to protect your mind like it's the most valuable asset you own. Because it is. When your attention is scattered, your energy is weak. When your energy is weak, your actions are dull. And dull actions never produce greatness. Greatness only comes from laser-sharp focus, the kind of focus that scares people, the kind that makes you disappear from nonsense and reappear only in results. Cutting out the noise doesn't mean you live in isolation. It means you stop giving power to distractions. You start saying no to people who drain your energy. You stop explaining yourself to those who'll never understand. You let go of the urge to impress. You stop living for the timeline and start living on your own terms. There is a special kind of clarity that only arrives when you get quiet. Not just externally, but internally. That's when you can finally hear your own voice again, the one that knows exactly what you need, where you're going, and who you're meant to become. You don't need the world to validate that voice. You just need the courage to follow it, even when nobody claps for you. Focus is not a gift, it's a decision. Every day you choose whether to give in to chaos or to center yourself. Every day you choose to either scroll through other people's lives or build your own. It's not about motivation, it's about discipline. The quiet kind, the kind that shows up when nobody is watching. The kind that doesn't post about progress, it just builds it. Sometimes that means waking up before the sun while the world sleeps. Sometimes it means sacrificing weekends, cutting back on comfort, saying no to fun, just so your future self can say yes to freedom. That kind of focus can't survive in a noisy life. That kind of power only grows in silence. People won't understand why you've gone quiet. Let them wonder. Let them talk. Their noise is none of your concern. Your only job is to get so locked into your mission that everything else becomes background. You don't owe anyone your attention. You owe yourself your full potential. The truth is, every distraction comes with a cost. Every conversation that leads nowhere, every piece of gossip you entertain, every comparison you feed, every drama you let in. It all costs you focus, and the more focus you lose, the slower your progress becomes. But the ones who rise, the ones who dominate, they protect their focus like their life depends on it, because it does. When you eliminate the noise, you discover time you didn't know you had, energy you forgot existed, ideas that were buried, strength that had been waiting to surface. You begin to move differently, think differently, breathe differently. You become a person who is no longer controlled by chaos, but powered by clarity. And that's when the transformation begins. That's when you stop living on autopilot and start moving with intention. Every hour starts to matter. Every step becomes a strategy. Every day becomes an opportunity to get better, not louder, but sharper, not faster, but deeper. This chapter in your life is not about speed. It's about precision. It's not about being everywhere. It's about being deeply rooted somewhere that matters. The louder the world gets, the quieter you need to become. That's the only way you'll hear the truth. That's the only way you'll rise. You weren't born to chase noise. You were born to build something that can't be ignored, even if nobody sees it yet. So go dark, go deep, and go all in. You're not behind. You're just about to break through. And when you do, they'll all ask how you did it. But you won't say a word, because silence built you, and silence will deliver you. Let's keep moving. Chapter 3, Mastering Discipline. When no one's watching. This is the chapter most people skip in life. The part where there are no eyes on you, no applause, no reward, no proof that your work matters, yet you do it anyway. That's discipline. That's the part that separates the ones who wish from the ones who win. Anyone can show up when they're motivated. Anyone can work when there's a deadline. But the ones who rise, they do it in the quiet hours, when no one is asking them to. When the world isn't cheering, when everything in them says rest, but something deeper says build, they keep going. Not because they have to, but because they refuse to stay the same. Discipline is the art of showing up when comfort tells you to stay home. It's doing the work when nobody will know if you skipped it. It's sticking to the plan when the results are invisible, the reward is far, and the temptation to quit is loud. That's when it counts. That's when you prove to yourself that your word is stronger than your feelings. And that matters, because feelings fade, motivation fades, hype dies, but discipline stays. It wakes you up. It gets you through. It builds your name. Without ever speaking it, it carves the version of you that can handle success, not just dream about it. Everyone wants to shine when the lights are on. But the question is, what are you doing in the dark? Are you building? Are you sharpening your edge? Are you pushing through the silence? Or are you waiting for someone to notice you before you take action? You see, the real work is boring. It's repetition. It's the same steps every day. It's not glamorous. It's not fun. But that's where the magic is. Because while others chase moments, you build habits. While they wait for permission, you give yourself orders. While they stop and start, you stay. You keep swinging the hammer. You keep laying the bricks. Day after day, strike after strike. And then, one day, the wall stands tall. And people say it happened overnight. But you'll know better. You'll know about the nights when you were tired, when your mind screamed, skip it, but your discipline whispered, keep going. You'll remember the mornings when no one noticed, but you still showed up. That's the price of greatness. Quiet effort, repeated daily, fueled by purpose, not praise. The world we live in teaches quick results, instant wins, flashy breakthroughs, but real transformation is slow. It's silent. It's heavy lifting in empty rooms. It's years of preparation before anyone claps. And if you can survive that, if you can thrive in that space, you become dangerous because you no longer need the world to push you. You've learned to pull yourself. Discipline rewires you. It teaches your body to move before your brain makes excuses. It teaches your heart to stay committed when your mind wants out. It teaches you to respect the process, even when the progress is invisible. And most of all, it teaches you patience. Not passive patience, but active patience. The kind that says, I may not be there yet, but I'm not stopping until I am. That's the kind of patience that builds empires. That's the kind of belief that moves mountains, not loudly but one stone at a time. So if you're in a season where it feels like no one sees you, good. That's your power. You're in the shadows for a reason. You're not supposed to be seen yet. You're supposed to be built. And when the time comes, you won't need to announce yourself. The results will do the talking. But until then, master the discipline of showing up, especially when no one's watching. Become the person who doesn't skip the work, who doesn't need a crowd, who doesn't break the promise they made to themselves. Because that version of you, the one forged in silence, held together by consistency, is the one who's going to win. Keep showing up. Keep building. Keep quiet. They'll see you soon. Chapter 4. Your growth requires isolation. Growth doesn't happen in crowded rooms. It doesn't happen in constant connection, in endless distractions, in approval-seeking loops. Real growth, deep, life-altering growth, happens when you step away, when you detach, when you isolate, not to escape the world, but to find yourself again. People often confuse isolation with loneliness. But they are not the same. Loneliness is being disconnected from others. Is isolation, when chosen, is connection with yourself. It's where you begin to hear your own voice again after drowning in everyone else's noise, where you look in the mirror, not for validation, but for truth. There comes a time in every person's life when they have to step back from the group, from the crowd, from the approval, from the noise. It's not about abandoning others. It's about protecting the most important relationship you have, the one with yourself, because you cannot grow if you're constantly reacting to outside opinions. You cannot evolve while trying to stay liked. and you cannot rise while being pulled in 10 directions. Isolation gives you space to audit your life, to face the truth you've been ignoring, to confront the distractions you've labeled as habits. It makes you see things clearly, like how many hours you waste explaining your dreams to people who don't dream, how often you dim your light to fit in, how much of your time goes into being accepted instead of being exceptional. When you isolate yourself with intention, your standards change. You start to recognize who's draining your energy and who's feeding it. You begin to notice how loud the world has been inside your head. And slowly, the silence doesn't feel uncomfortable. It starts to feel like peace, a peace that grows stronger with every quiet hour, a clarity that sharpens with every uninterrupted morning, a power that returns every time you stop performing. Because when you're alone with your thoughts, with your goals, with your struggle, there's no one to pretend for. You're faced with the raw truth of where you are and where you're not. That's the beginning of real transformation. That's when you stop negotiating with excuses. That's when you stop hiding behind the idea of someday. That's when you realize the only one standing in your way is you. Isolation forces growth because it demands honesty, and honesty isn't always pretty. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it humbles you. Sometimes it breaks your heart. But in that breaking, you're rebuilt. Stronger, sharper, clearer, focused. The version of you that's coming can't be built in the same environment that broke you. You can't become new while staying surrounded by the old. You can't elevate if you're addicted to comfort. You can't walk forward while looking for permission. So you pull back, you disconnect, you disappear, not because you're weak, but because you're ready. Ready to evolve, ready to cut ties with distractions, ready to strip away what's not serving you, ready to build something no one can take from you, inner power. It's in that private season that you develop the skills, the mindset, the fire. You study, you train, you refine, you grow. And because no one is watching, your only accountability is yourself. That's what makes you dangerous. Because when you learn to show up for yourself in silence, the world can't stop you when it finally hears your footsteps. So embrace the isolation. Use it. Fill it with action, with progress, with quiet victories. Let others post. Let them shout. Let them seek validation. You're on a different path now. You're building something sacred, yourself. And when the time is right, you'll step back out into the world, not as someone seeking a place, but as someone who created their own. Until then, keep the door closed. Stay locked in. Grow in silence. You'll emerge unstoppable. Chapter 5. Stop explaining. Let your results speak. There comes a point where talking becomes a trap, where every time you explain yourself, you're leaking energy, where every time you try to convince someone of your vision, you shrink it just to make it understandable to people who were never meant to see it. You don't owe the world your explanations, not for your ambition, not for your grind, not for your silence, not for your change. You are not here to convince anyone. You are here to build, to become, to rise. Quietly, consistently, and undeniably. The need to explain comes from insecurity. But when you are deeply aligned with your purpose, you don't look for permission. You don't look for applause. You don't need others to get it, because you already do. You already see where you're going. You already know who you're becoming, and that's more than enough. People will always ask what you're doing, where you've gone, why you've changed. Let them wonder. Let your absence create curiosity. Let your results become the answer. Let your discipline become your voice, because the truth is, when you're truly focused, you don't have time to explain. You're too busy executing. Every minute spent explaining your vision is a minute stolen from building it. Every argument defending your discipline is an energy drain that serves no purpose. Real work doesn't need a microphone. It just needs silence, sweat, and sacrifice. The kind no one sees, the kind that feels slow, the kind that makes people forget you until the results show up and remind them who you are. Your job is not to be seen every day. Your job is to work every day so that one day you cannot be ignored. And when that day comes, you won't have to say a word. The numbers will speak, the transformation will speak, the glow-up will speak, the success will scream what your voice never had to say. When people don't understand your grind, that's fine. It wasn't for them. You weren't building it for the crowd. You were building it for the mission, for the version of you that's been waiting in the future, calling you forward, telling you to stop wasting time, proving things to people who are just watching, not working. You don't see lions explaining their roar. You don't see giants arguing about their steps. They just move. They just dominate, and the world adjusts. That's the kind of energy you need. Quiet strength, quiet progress, quiet purpose. The kind that doesn't look around. It looks forward. Don't post your pain. Heal it. Don't prove your worth. Live it. Don't advertise your journey. Walk it. In the end, your consistency will be louder than your explanation. Your discipline will be louder than your story. And your results, they'll silence every doubt. So next time someone questions your silence, your change, your grind, just smile. Because the ones who are building don't stop to talk. They keep the hammer swinging. They keep the foundation growing. They keep stacking days until the world wakes up and sees a tower where there used to be dust. And by then, it's too late for anyone to catch up. Let your silence offend them. Let your progress confuse them. Let your success humble them, but don't ever stop for them. This journey you're on, it's not about them, it's about the promise you made to yourself. It's about becoming someone who doesn't flinch, doesn't explain, and doesn't slow down. Because when your work speaks loudly, clearly, and undeniably, you'll realize you never needed words at all. Keep going. Keep building. Let your actions echo where your voice once tried. Chapter 6. The work you do in private builds the life you live in public. Behind every success story, there's a season no one talks about, a chapter filled with silence, repetition, and invisible effort. No praise, no spotlight, just work. Quiet, consistent, lonely work. The kind of work that makes no noise, but changes everything. The world loves to celebrate the moment someone arrives, but it rarely asks what it took to get there. Because the truth is simple and powerful, the life you live in public is built by the work you commit to in private. It's what you do when no one is watching that makes you. The early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, the small decisions stacked one on top of the other. That's where the real story is written. Not in the announcement, but in the discipline. Not in the applause, but in the silence. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're laying a brick. Every time you choose progress over comfort, you're reinforcing your foundation. You may not see it yet, but something is being built. You may not feel it, but your future self is being shaped in real time, through every unnoticed action, every quiet hour, every lonely grind. This is the part that most people run from. The boredom, the lack of recognition, the long stretch between starting and seeing results. They want quick rewards, they want instant validation, but greatness has no shortcuts. It's earned in the dark, forged in silence, and when it finally shines, it looks like it came out of nowhere. But you'll know. You'll remember the nights when you felt like quitting, but chose to keep going. You'll remember the days when your work felt meaningless, yet you still showed up. That quiet faith in the process, that's what separates those who win from those who wish. So don't wait to be seen. Don't wait to be celebrated. Don't work only when someone is watching. Do it for the person you're becoming. Do it because you said you would, because there's something sacred about keeping your word to yourself. It builds trust within. It creates momentum, and eventually, it creates results. Success doesn't ask for noise, it demands focus. It asks you to disappear long enough to master your craft, to outgrow your limits, to become so strong in your purpose that you don't need reminders or praise, you just need time. Every quiet morning you show up, every night you stay locked in, every time you choose the hard thing over the easy way, that's power, that's legacy. That's the foundation of a life that no one can take from you. The public version of you, the one that inspires, leads, creates and wins, that version is born in this private season, and you don't need the world to see it yet. You just need to stay with it. Keep building, keep sharpening, keep rising. There's a reason some people rise and others stay stuck. The ones who rise, they kept going when no one noticed. They honored the unseen work. They understood that one day the results would speak louder than any introduction. So stay quiet. Stay dangerous. Keep doing the work no one claps for. Because the life you're about to live, the respect, the peace, the power, it's coming. And when it does, you'll know it wasn't luck. It was you. Your silence. Your effort. Your refusal to stop. Let's keep going. Chapter 7. Fall in love with the process, not the outcome. At first you chase the result. You want the transformation, the money, the recognition, the freedom. It's natural. It's human. We all start there. But at some point the real growth begins, not when you finally arrive, but when you realize the power is not in the result, it's in the process. You see, the result is just a snapshot, a moment, a single point in time. But the process, that's where you live, that's where you grow, that's where the real transformation takes place. If you only work for the result, you'll get tired. You'll quit when it gets slow. You'll question everything when the numbers don't add up. But if you fall in love with the process, you become unstoppable. The process doesn't lie. It exposes you. It humbles you. It strips away excuses. It shows you who you really are. Every rep, every page, every late night, every early morning. Those are not wasted moments. Those are the bricks being laid, one by one, building something no one can see yet. The world will tell you to chase outcomes, to set goals, to measure progress in visible ways. And yes, outcomes matter. But they are not the foundation. They are the fruit. The root is in the daily actions, in the hours no one sees, in the boring consistency, in the days you show up with no proof it's working, yet you show up anyway. That's the process. And if you can fall in love with it, truly fall in love with it, you win. Every day. Because the results will come. They always do. But the mindset, the character, the fire that grows in the process, that's what lasts. Most people don't quit because they're weak. They quit because they don't respect the process. They want speed. They want visibility. They want excitement. But the process isn't always exciting. It's often dull, it's slow, it's repetitive, and that's why it works. The ones who rise are the ones who keep swinging, even when it's not glamorous, who keep writing even when the page feels empty, who keep building even when no one's clapping, because they've learned to love it. Not just the end goal, but the effort itself. When you fall in love with the process, failure doesn't stop you. It fuels you. Setbacks don't break you. They build you, because you're not chasing a moment, you're becoming someone new. And that shift is permanent. That shift is power. It's easy to admire someone's success, to want what they have. But if you saw the process, the lonely nights, the missed events, the sacrifices, the discipline, it would look less like luck and more like war, a silent, daily battle to stay committed when motivation fades. And yet, in that battle, there's beauty, there's strength, there's peace. Because when you know you're putting in the work, day after day, you stop needing external proof. You carry the confidence of someone who's earned their progress, even if no one sees it yet. So wherever you are right now, early in the journey, deep in the grind, close to quitting. Don't focus so much on the outcome. Focus on what you're doing today. Focus on doing it well, fully, honestly, and then do it again tomorrow. That's how results come. Not from one big effort, but from thousands of small, consistent ones. That's how you become elite. That's how you rise. And when the world finally sees your success, they'll call it talent, they'll call it luck, but you'll know it was the process, it was the hours, it was the discipline, it was the part no one talks about. And you'll keep showing up, because the process made you fall in love with who you're becoming, not just where you're going. Keep grinding, keep growing, keep falling in love with the work. Chapter 8. Protect your energy like it's your life. Your energy is everything. It's the fuel behind your thoughts, your discipline, your creativity, your movement. Without it, you burn out. With it, you build empires. And yet, most people give it away freely, spending it on distractions, draining people, and things that serve no purpose. If you want to focus on yourself and truly work in silence, you must learn to protect your energy like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Every conversation, every piece of content, every argument, every doubt you allow into your mind, it costs you. Some things don't just take time, they take your peace, they drain your clarity, they rob you of your focus. And the truth is, you don't owe anyone your energy, you don't owe the world your attention, you owe yourself your best. There's a silent war happening every day. A battle for your mind. Notifications, noise, opinions, expectations. It's all trying to break your rhythm, to pull you off track, to make you reactive instead of intentional. But when you guard your energy, when you become selective about what you allow in, you take back control. That's when you start moving differently. You stop explaining your goals to people who laugh. You stop arguing with critics who haven't built anything. You stop showing up in places that drain your soul. You begin to treat your energy like a currency, and you stop spending it on anything that doesn't grow you. You become unavailable to drama. You become unreachable to nonsense. You become uninterested in shallow things, because your vision becomes louder than their noise. Your discipline becomes stronger than their doubt, and your peace becomes more important than their opinion. Energy isn't just about sleep or food. It's emotional, mental, spiritual, and it's not unlimited. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your purpose, you're saying no to something that does. That's the real cost, the price most people don't realize they're paying until it's too late. So slow down. Audit your life. Who are you giving your energy to? What are you allowing into your space? Is it building you or breaking you? Is it fueling your fire or putting it out? Because you can't rise if you're constantly drained. You can't build if you're constantly distracted. You can't focus if your energy is scattered across 100 meaningless things. The most successful people in the world aren't the busiest. They're the clearest. They've cut the noise, they've simplified, they've said no to 1,000 things just to say yes to what really matters. They don't chase everything, they protect what they've built. And that protection begins with energy. When you learn to master your energy, you no longer get thrown off by every little thing. You stop reacting. You start choosing. You become calm in chaos, focused in the storm, unshaken in uncertainty. That's the power of guarded energy. It turns you from a victim of the world into the architect of your life. So from today forward, draw your boundaries. Keep your circle tight. Honor your solitude. Say no without guilt. Disconnect without apology. Protect your mornings. Guard your evenings. Clean your environment. Feed your soul. Recharge your mind. Because the more energy you preserve, the more power you carry. And the more power you carry, the more quietly and completely you rise. Protect your energy, not just to survive, but to dominate. Silently. steadily, completely. Chapter 9. Your future is built by what you do today. You can't control the future. You can't predict every outcome. But you can decide how you show up today. And that decision, repeated over and over, is what builds everything that comes next. People get lost in the future. They overthink it. They dream about it. They wait for it. But the truth is, the future is just a reflection of your daily choices. It doesn't show up one day with gifts. It shows up based on what you gave yesterday. And if today you choose focus, discipline, and action, your future has no choice but to return those investments. There is no elevator to success, no secret shortcut, no magic formula, just daily decisions, just hours stacked on hours, just one choice after another. That's how the life you want is built, not in one leap, but in 1,000 silent steps. The world tells you to chase goals, but what you really need is a system, a rhythm, a way of moving that you stick to no matter how you feel, because feelings are unreliable, but discipline, that never fails. Discipline builds momentum, and momentum builds everything. It's easy to say you want success, but what are you doing today that aligns with it? What sacrifice are you making? What distraction are you avoiding? What habit are you keeping? Because wanting means nothing without action. Desire fades. Action compounds. The people you admire, the ones who seem so far ahead, they weren't born different, they just respected today. While others waited for motivation, they moved. While others talked, they executed. While others hoped, they built. That's the difference. Not talent, not luck. Just relentless daily effort. And that kind of effort can't be faked. It's quiet. It's not for social media. It's not for claps. It's for something deeper. The peace of knowing you didn't waste another day. The fire of knowing you kept the promise to yourself. That's where real self-worth comes from. Not from likes, but from integrity. You don't have to do it all at once. Just today. Just one decision. Just 1 hour of deep focus, one distraction avoided, one routine kept, and then tomorrow. You do it again and again, until one day people say you changed overnight. But you'll know better. You'll know the price you paid in silence, in discipline, in unseen consistency. Stop romanticizing the future. Start honoring today. This day is the only one you can control. The only one you can touch, the only one you can use to move closer. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be real. Present. Active. No more waiting. No more delaying. No more wasting energy on what hasn't happened yet. Focus on what you can do now. Not next week, not next year, now. Because your future is watching. And every step you take today is a message you send to it. I am coming for you. And if you keep walking, keep showing up, keep building, one day the future will meet you there, and it will be everything you silently worked for. No applause, just fulfillment. Chapter 10. The Power of Being Unavailable. In a world where everyone is constantly online, always reachable, always reacting, it's easy to forget that availability has a price. And the ones who win, they don't pay it. They choose to become unavailable, not to disconnect from life, but to reconnect with their purpose. Being always available means you're never fully focused. Every message, every ping, every call, every scroll, it chips away at your time, your energy, your clarity. Slowly, quietly, until you've given away your entire day, piece by piece, to things that don't build you. The truth is, you can't create anything powerful while being constantly distracted. You can't master your craft if you're answering every call. You can't transform your life if you're plugged into everyone else's noise. At some point, you have to draw the line. You have to choose silence. You have to choose space. Being unavailable is not being rude. It's being focused. It's telling the world, doing something important. It's turning off the chaos to hear your own thoughts. It's disappearing from distractions so you can reappear as the version of yourself you've never met before. There's a reason the most successful people protect their time like it's gold, because it is. Your availability is your energy, and your energy is your future. If you waste it on every notification, every conversation, every meaningless reply, you'll have nothing left for the real work. People won't understand. Let them misunderstand. People will feel ignored. Let them feel it. Your job isn't to please everyone. Your job is to build the life that keeps calling you when everything else goes quiet. And that life doesn't come through being available. It comes through being intentional. Silence is powerful because it creates boundaries, boundaries that protect your mission, boundaries that sharpen your focus, boundaries that say, I'm not here to be reachable, I'm here to be unstoppable. You don't need to respond to everything. You don't need to explain your absence. You don't owe anyone a status update. You owe yourself results. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself the space to grow, undistracted. Being unavailable means you stop reacting. You start creating. It means you stop getting pulled into everyone else's urgency. You start moving at your own pace, on your own time, toward your own target. And when you do that long enough, something shifts. You gain your time back. You recover your energy. You remember your goals. And you feel powerful again, not because you're loud, but because you're focused. Because you're no longer letting the world dictate your attention. You've taken it back. So turn the phone off. Log out. Ignore the noise. Go missing. And while the world is busy looking for you, stay busy building. Because when you finally return, it won't be as the same person who left. It'll be as someone reborn in silence, driven by clarity, unbothered by distraction, unavailed to anything that doesn't push you forward. Chapter 11. Growth feels lonely. Embrace it. No one tells you this when you start to change. It gets lonely. Not fake lonely. Not dramatic lonely. Real lonely. The kind that makes you question yourself. The kind that makes you wonder if you're doing the right thing. The kind that comes when you choose discipline over comfort, purpose over popularity, growth over groupthink. You begin to outgrow people. Not out of arrogance, but alignment. The conversations that once excited you now feel empty. The environments you used to enjoy now feel distracting. The habits that kept you stuck no longer feel normal. They feel heavy. That's not a sign something's wrong. That's proof you're growing. Growth separates you. It always has, because to rise, you must let go of comfort, of validation, of the need to be included, of the fear of being misunderstood. The higher you climb, the thinner the air becomes. Fewer people can breathe where you're going, and that's okay. You're not meant to be surrounded while you're being shaped. At first it stings. You'll miss the comfort of being seen. You'll miss the ease of being understood. But eventually the silence becomes sacred. You start to enjoy your own company. You begin to feel peace in your solitude. You realize that your growth was never meant to be loud. It was meant to be honest. People might say you've changed, and they'll be right. You've stopped entertaining things that don't grow you. You've stopped tolerating environments that drain you. You've stopped pretending to fit into places that you've outgrown. That kind of change is uncomfortable, but necessary. This chapter of your life isn't about finding more people, it's about finding yourself. About healing, building, learning, creating, becoming alone. Not because no one cares, but because no one else can walk this road for you. Growth doesn't need a crowd, it needs commitment. Quiet commitment, the kind that shows up without recognition. The kind that doesn't announce its progress. The kind that doesn't seek company in the struggle. It seeks clarity in the silence. And eventually, the loneliness fades. Not because you've gone back to your old life, but because you've become someone new, someone who doesn't fear being alone, someone who doesn't bend to be accepted, someone who moves with purpose, not permission. You start attracting different energy, people who value depth over noise, discipline over drama, vision over validation. But they don't come when you're still clinging to what's familiar. They come when you finally let go. So if you're in that season, if the silence feels too loud, if the loneliness feels too deep, breathe. You're not breaking. You're evolving. This is what it looks like to shed your old skin, to level up in real time, to walk through the fire and come out refined. Don't run from the loneliness. Let it shape you. Let it strip away the need to be understood. Let it force you to sit with yourself long enough to know what you truly need. Because what's coming requires a stronger version of you, a clearer mind, a deeper spirit, a sharper edge. And that version isn't born in crowds. It's born in the quiet, in the discomfort, in the solitude. And when the world finally meets the new you, they'll say you came out of nowhere. But you'll know you came out of silence. Chapter 12. Let your consistency become your superpower. Success is not built on bursts of inspiration. It's built on boring, unshakable consistency. While others wait for motivation, you show up. While they chase passion, you chase discipline. While they stop and start, you become the one who keeps going. Not loudly, not perfectly, but consistently, every single day. Consistency isn't exciting. It's not flashy. It doesn't get attention. That's why most people abandon it. They want the hype, the fast progress, the overnight change. But real transformation doesn't work that way. It's slow. It's quiet. It's repetitive. It's doing the work again and again until the world can't deny you anymore. There's something powerful about becoming the person who just doesn't stop. No matter how tired, no matter how overlooked, no matter how far the goal still feels, you keep showing up. You keep stacking bricks, you keep adding weight, and over time you build a force that can't be ignored. You don't need to be the best every day. You just need to be present. You just need to do what you said you would do. Not for the applause, not for the outcome, but because you respect yourself enough to follow through. Consistency builds trust, first with yourself, then with others. It tells your mind, we do what we say here. It silences doubt. It drowns excuses, and eventually it creates momentum so strong that even on your worst days, you still move forward. That's the secret most people miss. The winners? They have bad days too. They get tired. They feel unmotivated. But they've built such a deep rhythm, such a solid pattern, that showing up becomes natural, automatic, non-negotiable. And when you reach that point, when showing up becomes who you are, not just something you try, you become unstoppable, because you're no longer driven by how you feel. You're driven by who you've chosen to be. That's what consistency gives you: identity. It transforms action into lifestyle. It turns habits into character. And that character, that quiet, relentless, patient force is what moves mountains. You might not see results today or tomorrow, but every rep counts, every focused hour matters, every promise you keep is one step closer to the life you're building. It's not wasted. It's not invisible. It's all being recorded in the bank of your becoming. The world rewards the ones who outlast, not the ones who start with energy and fade, but the ones who show up long after the excitement is gone. The ones who turn discipline into routine. The ones who stay committed when no one is watching. So if you're tired, good. That means you've been working. If it feels slow, good. That means you're being refined. If it feels repetitive, good. That means you're building something real. Let your consistency be your rebellion. Let it be your identity. Let it be the quiet engine that takes you further than motivation ever could. You don't need a spark. You need a flame. One that burns slow, steady, relentless. And when people ask how you did it, just smile. Because you already know the answer. You never stopped. Chapter 13. You don't need recognition. You need results. You don't need to be seen right now. You don't need applause. You don't need validation. What you need is work. Deep, focused, uncomfortable work. The kind of work that doesn't go viral. The kind that doesn't get shared. The kind that most people avoid because it's not fun. It's real. In a world obsessed with visibility, the greatest power is in being unseen while you're building. Because when you're not being watched, you're not performing. You're not adjusting yourself to fit someone else's lens. You're not chasing opinions. You're chasing results. Recognition is loud, but results are louder. You don't have to announce what you're doing. You don't have to post every step. You don't have to update the world. The world doesn't need to see your grind. The world needs to see your transformation. And that transformation begins in the quiet. The truth is, most people want the reward without the process. They want the platform without the foundation. They want to be known before they've become someone worth knowing. But success doesn't work that way. Life doesn't reward noise. It rewards evidence. And that evidence comes from results. You're not falling behind. You're just not broadcasting your steps. You're not being left out. You're building a lane no one else can walk. Stay in that. Stay hidden. If you must. Go invisible, if that's what it takes. Because results don't need promotion. They speak when it's time. When you look back on this season, it won't be the moments of recognition you'll remember. It'll be the long days of silence. The small wins. The quiet breakthroughs. The times you didn't quit, even though no one would have noticed if you had. That's the real growth. That's the real success. So, what if they don't see you right now? Let them overlook you. Let them sleep on you. Let them talk about others. You're not here to be part of the noise. You're here to become undeniable. And when that time comes, when your work is too real, too refined, too powerful to ignore, they'll notice. But by then, you won't need them to. Because you'll know what you built in silence. You'll know the price you paid when no one was watching. You'll know the power of staying grounded while others chased claps. You'll know the difference between being seen and being respected. This is your season of foundation. Not popularity. Not visibility. Foundation. Lay it brick by brick, day by day. Quietly, patiently, relentlessly, and when it's done, when the structure stands tall, no one will care how long it took. They'll just ask how you did it. And you won't need to say a word, because the results will speak for you. Let the others chase recognition. You chase mastery. Let them build their image. You build your empire. Chapter 14. Move in silence until it's time to strike. The most dangerous person in any room is the one no one saw coming. The one who didn't brag, the one who didn't post, the one who stayed quiet, stayed low, stayed building, and then one day showed up so sharp, so disciplined, so undeniable that the world had no choice but to pay attention. That's the power of moving in silence. You don't need to warn people of your plans. You don't need to announce your every move. Real power doesn't speak. It doesn't need to, because it knows what's coming. It knows the hours that have been put in. It knows the fire behind the scenes. When you move in silence, you take back control. You stop living for the timeline. You stop updating people who aren't invested in your success. You stop chasing approval for things you haven't even finished yet. Instead, you move like a shadow, calm, focused, relentless. It's not about hiding. It's about protecting what matters. Your goals, your peace, your growth. Not everything needs to be public. Some things deserve to grow in private. Because what the world can't see, it can't interrupt. What the world doesn't know, it can't judge. There is strength in being underestimated. Let them think you're not doing much. Let them assume you've disappeared. Let them talk. That's fuel. While they're watching noise, you're becoming precision. While they're chasing moments, you're mastering movements. While they're reacting, you're preparing. And when the time is right, you strike. Not emotionally. Not to prove a point, but because you're ready, because the work has been done, because the foundation is solid. And when that strike lands, whether it's your body, your business, your breakthrough, it's sharp, sudden, and undeniable. The quiet seasons of your life are not wasted. They're the most important ones. That's where the sharpening happens. That's where your identity is formed. That's where your discipline is carved into your bones. The silence is your gym, your lab, your battlefield. Respect it. Some people never become great because they can't stay quiet long enough to focus. They need to be seen too badly. They crave attention more than mastery, but not you. You've learned that attention is a trap, that applause is a distraction, that public progress means nothing without private preparation. You're not here to impress. You're here to win. And winners know when to stay still, when to train in darkness, and when to step into the light. This isn't about playing small, it's about playing smart. It's about letting your work stack so high that it speaks without words, that it strikes without warning, that it lands so clean no one can deny it. So keep it to yourself. Keep grinding. Keep studying. Keep refining. Move in silence. Let your future self thank you for the discipline. And when the doors open, when the lights come on, when the world finally sees what you've been building, they won't be ready. But you will, because you moved in silence until it was time to strike. And when you strike, there'll be no doubt. You earned every inch of it. Chapter 15. The victory is in who you've become. You started this journey for many reasons. Maybe it was pain. Maybe it was hunger. Maybe it was something to prove. But as you've walked through the silence, through the solitude, through the discipline, something deeper has happened. Something more powerful than just reaching a goal. You've changed. You've become someone else. Not in a fake way, not in a way you had to announce, but in a way that's real. Quiet, rooted, strong. And that, right there, is the true victory. Because the win isn't in the money. It isn't in the followers. It isn't in the recognition. The win is in the mindset you built when no one was clapping. The win is in the consistency you kept when no one was watching. The win is in the strength you found when quitting would have been easy. You now carry something most people never earn, self-respect, because you kept the promise. You stayed the course. You honored the work. And it doesn't matter who saw it. You saw it. You felt it. You lived it. This version of you, calm, focused, relentless, wasn't born in comfort. It was born in silence. It was born in the lonely mornings, the quiet discipline, the sacrifice that no one celebrated. It came from doing the work anyway, from walking forward even when it was hard, from choosing growth when no one asked you to, and that's what makes you rare. Most people never get here. They chase outcomes, they chase noise, they break under pressure. But you stayed solid. You didn't need hype. You didn't need a crowd. You just needed a reason. And you held on to it until it became who you are. Now you know the truth. This whole time, it wasn't about achieving something. It was about becoming someone. And that someone, you, is powerful. Because now you don't flinch when things get hard. You don't fold when the attention disappears. You don't need the outside world to validate your inside work. You're grounded. You're built. You're ready. You move different now. You think different now. You carry yourself different now. Because you understand something they don't. The loudest person is not the strongest. The most visible person is not the most dangerous. The one who works in silence and builds in darkness, That's the one who can't be stopped. And now that you've walked through all 15 chapters, through the fire, through the silence, through the process, you've earned something the world can't give and the world can't take. Peace, power, purpose. And from this day forward, you carry that with you. Not for show, not for approval, but for you. Because you chose the hard way. You chose the quiet path. You chose to focus on yourself and work hard in silence. And now there's no going back. You've become something unstoppable. And when they finally ask how you did it, you'll smile. Not because they noticed, but because you didn't need them to. You were already winning, in silence.